Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to the only live Monday through Friday lacrosse talk show on the planet. I am your host, Michael Karvelis, and this is Daily Dive. It is Monday, December 29th, 2025, and this show begins now. We are live streaming via the airwaves of North American Talk Radio on YouTube. We ask that you do subscribe before you leave today's episode. Kai the goalie said, "What's up?" What's up, Kai? Hey, he joined our first ever watch party. That was fun. On today's awesome show, on this Monday, we're going to talk to Pat Gregoire as he's going to help us break down and instant react to week number 5, including a big win for Saskatchewan in a game that he broadcasted. And we'll get to my 3 stars of the weekend, 3 heavyweight stars, should I say, but which of them took home the first star award? Before we get to Pat Gregoire, this show is presented by the ticketing platform at natalkradio.com. Click the event tickets tab when you get there, and then you'll be taken to Vivid Seats, which you'll just type in your favorite or local National Lacrosse League team, and it helps us out when you purchase a ticket. You can also check the YouTube description down below, and at the bottom, there will be a direct link to that website with our link. So we appreciate you for doing that. I know this weekend I'm going to some Monster Trucks Hot Wheels light show thing going on at an end market arena. So I will be getting my tickets today for that through our website. And I'll actually let you know how my ticketing experience goes. My first time ever doing that, because usually I just get a media pass. But yeah. Captain says Swarm won one game and Mike's out of the closet. You gotta say WON, man. Wayne, whatever. Kai the goalie says I like the shirt. That's hysterical. All right, now let's bring in the people who want to take shots. So let's bring in Pat Gregoire because they're already in a giving mood. How are you, sir, today?
Doing great, Mike. Doing great. How are you doing?
Good. You love the musk he's had at this point. It looks good.
Yeah, no, it's I just figured no, don't worry. Just a little frog in my throat. But
let's do it.
No, figured I'd give a little more love to the Muskies. I know they love seeing it online.
Shout you
and
out.
Yeah. I'll be honest, it was just the first hat in my closet I saw that caught my eye.
It's a good hat. It's a good hat. Looks like one of those. Looks like a smooth. It's like a trucker cap. I love it.
It is.
By the way, scrolling at the bottom of the ticker today, I'll have results, which will be like that. The standings. I've added 2 more. The point leaders, top 5, in week 5, including Jeff T, Rob Hellier, which is crazy. Dane Smith, Keegan Ball, Josh Byrne. 2 guys from 2 different teams. And then save percentage leaders as well. Shout out Warren Hill, who's still actually out beating Brett Dobson. All right, let's get to the instant reactions. Those will scroll by as you see them. What a weekend, sir. And it all started out at 6 o'clock in the Maritimes, they call it. Wow, what a game. Just for the record, the Rush are now 3-1 after a 10-9 win. Halifax falls to 2-1, leaving Rochester the only unbeaten team. They didn't play this weekend. Mike Messenger was my 3-star nominee for this game, and I'll give that every game going forward, but he was the nominee for this game with 1 primary assist, 3 blocks, 10 loose balls, and a calls turnover. My question though is, what team did you learn more about?
I might take the easy road out here and say I still don't really think we learned much about either teams that we didn't know here.
Okay.
I think the one thing with Saskatchewan is that despite being 3-1, 2-1, what is it, 3-1 now?
3-1, yep, second in the standings.
I still think that they have more to give. They have more to show. They look great at some points and kind of look a little lackluster at other points. Ryan Keenan, I thought was outstanding. Austin Shanks came up with big clutch goals when was needed. The defense is still so impressive, so fast. Matt Accioni with his first 2 goals of his career.
Amazing.
Frank Chiliano not with an abundance of saves, but
No.
he made the big ones that when he needed to. And then on the flip side, I still think Halifax is a really, really good team, a team that has a chance to go deep, especially if Warren Hill's going to keep playing like you did.
Oh, it's ridiculous.
I thought that in the first half, if it wasn't for Warren Hill, this thing could have been a blowout. But he played really well and allowed Halifax to kind of settle in. But the thing that we know about this Halifax team and have known for a long time, two things have become their Achilles heel, and that's reverse transition, allowing other teams to score in transition, and discipline. And obviously those two things reared its ugly head. Some bad undisciplined penalties and the ability not to get off the floor and not allow Saskatchewan's athletes to be big playmakers. I think those are the two big bugaboos for the Halifax over these years. And it was the same thing again on Saturday night.
I took a I use the term dirty team. I don't, because I don't know. I just like a blanket statement. I'm not calling it individuals, but something is in the locker room that smells right now. Because my thing is, like, the last play of the game, a guy gets his chin bloodied. I'm like, can we not just lose? Can we not just lose by one goal and call it a day? Like, because they play each other in like a week or two. Like, this could get ugly, boys.
It certainly can, and I think we talked about it on the broadcast. This is becoming one of the best rivalries in the game. And which player are you referencing? Because I heard you mention that before, that there was a blow. Was it Cody Jamison's the last penalty of the game there?
Yeah, I don't even know if it was a penalty. It was like, as the time expired, this Rush guy gets a. I didn't check who the Rush player was, but he definitely had some blood on his chin. There's just some guy cross-checked. I'm like, are we doing this as the game expires here?
Okay, well, I'll be honest.
Check the replay, but I don't know who it was.
Yeah, to be quite honest, like, you know, just looking at some of those the penalties throughout the game, like, you know, the one that, you know, the hold on Dawson Feed.
I think early in the fourth quarter, the cross checks are the ones that I don't like. That's the ones I get frustrated with.
You know, the dead ball foul by Nungo Thompson, like, so those ones, you know, the delay game on Dawson Feed again. Sure. Just, you know, I don't know if I necessarily would call the team dirty, but they're definitely undisciplined. And I thought, you know, through the first two games that they played, you and I talked about it. You were kind of calling them out for the amount of penalties they took. But against Buffalo, I said it, their penalties were early on and they didn't take any deep. So I think they were just, you know, some of those bad habits kind of creep back in. But the good thing about this is it's just one game. You mentioned it. It is Saskatchewan the following week. So maybe you can take your frustrations out in that first quarter. But that's something that obviously needs to be addressed. It sounds like after the game, Michael Karvelis did address it. And I wouldn't be surprised if we do see some players deal with some consequences, whether that's not being in the game, losing floor time, not being on special teams, whatever it may be. But I want to know at least that Michael Karvelis is going to hold these guys accountable. And I think he will.
I like that term better. Undisciplined sounds a lot better than dirty. Anyways, it just sounds more not professional. It just sounds easier. It's because the whole team is not dirty, but undisciplined would be a more professional term. I learned more about Saskatchewan because, as I did report and as was others said, what a travel day for them with that storm. And they could have, not saying they would have, but last year they were the road team. They were the team that could walk into your barn and put it up and still punch you in the mouth, and they did it again. And as Captain said earlier in the comments, it was their first complete game. I don't know if they're back. My original question was going to be, hey, Pat, are they better than last year's squad? But we don't know. The answer is no right now. But if they're 3-1, they're going to do this on a bad travel day. I think the Rush look pretty good right now after this win.
I think the fact is that we do know they have more to give. And they've come out with gritty victories. You know, that one against Georgia where the offense just can't get anything done, but the defense and Frank Chiliano hold things down. The first game of the year, you come out with your hair on fire, and then Calgary claws back, but you find a way to close out that game. This one, again, another gritty character victory, where you grind one out on the road against a rival in a building that was raucous and ready to see the home side win. So outside of the loss to Ottawa, where they allow Ottawa to go on that big run to close out the game. They found ways to win. Yeah, they found ways to win, and that's what good teams do. When you maybe don't deserve to win, or where you need to figure it out and it's not pretty, that's what they've done. So I still think this is a team that we could see in the championship. I still think that this is a team that should be hosting a home playoff game. I think it's a bit too early to say, oh yeah, this group is better than what they were last year.
I'm rephrasing this from the Jake Off to the Jake Wars, or the Battle of Jake, because it just sounds better. Jake Naso, talk about gritty, was right there with Withers in terms of face-offs, which is hard to do. Also, another thing I want to ask you, a little bonus question here, just to praise Halifax in the barn here, another sellout. And you have been in Buffalo when it's 19,070. I know it's only 10,595 or whatever it is. How do they compare, and what is the differences for Halifax? Because it's a great thing to see for that team to continue to do that.
It's hard to compare them just because the size of the crowd, but man, right. It is one of the best atmospheres in the NLL.
It looks
no doubt about that. It's awesome. It's a party. Everyone is wearing their Thunderbirds gear. They got purple and orange throughout the crowd. They're clapping along to all the maritime East Coast music. They got the King of the Hill chant. So certainly it's tough to dethrone Banditland as the best atmosphere in the game. For me, and I haven't had the opportunity to get to the Rough House. I know that place. Even last night, like them kind of falling asleep there in the fourth quarter, the crowd stayed to the very end. Like they weren't going home. They stayed to the very end, which was great to see. But for me, I would say out of all the buildings that I've gone to, Halifax is probably number two. I should say probably for me.
Have you been to Colorado?
Yep, I have, yes. A couple years ago.
They're rowdy.
They are very rowdy there too. They would be in that mix. Maybe not quite as big as crowds as they used to. Yeah, that kid's awesome. Maybe not as big of crowds that they had in years past, but the fans that do show up, the 10,000, 11,000 that do show up to that barn, they call it the Loud House for a reason. So Colorado got to give them their flowers as well. But what is being built in Halifax right now is pretty special.
Party in the nest, baby. All right, next up, and by the way, good job on Pete Halliday. It was a good suit. It wasn't like the awesome Christmas suit, but it was good. I liked it.
Yeah, I did not think. I thought he was going to go a little more festive, but hey, still looked sharp. Still looked very sharp. Always dressing dapper is that one Pete Halliday.
Keep the kids guessing. All right, Black Bears talk this game. I hope people watched it because we have a multi-view thing on ESPN Plus. It was hard to not pay attention to this one while the Halifax game was going on, for the record. It was back and forth. Philadelphia came back and made Ottawa look silly, and Ottawa says, ha, 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 not so fast, as the old man says. Jeff Teat had 2 goals, and you're not going to believe this. All 8 of his assists were primary. It's ridiculous. Brendan O'Neill, sock trick, and I was throwing him on the watch party. Ottawa goes to 2-2. Philadelphia falls to a pesky 1-2. My question for you is, though, is Jeff Teat the MVP right now? What a guy.
I think he's in the conversation, but I think that there's a couple other guys that probably are throwing their hat in the ring. Sure, he's leading in points, but Connor Fields, 8.5 points per game. Lanchbury, 8 points per game. Dane Smith, 7.5. And then Jeff Teat there with 7.3, and Rob Hellier there as well. So I think you could make an argument, and I do know you always have the teams that have the 1-2 punch. Like I mentioned, Dane Smith and Josh Byrne, Connor Fields, and Ryan Lanchbury. And I mean, they even have more than that as well. But I think Teat is in the conversation, but I wouldn't say he is. I don't know if anyone really has elevated themselves as the number one undisputed MVP right now. I think I would have a stronger case for maybe a goalie or a couple of goalies.
Absolutely.
I think Warren Hill or Brett Dobson, if the season was to end today, or if the standings were to be, and if Brett Dobson drags this team into the playoffs, I have a hard time Exactly. I have a hard time not saying that this guy should be in the not just the goaltender of the year candidate, but also I think MVP is a legitimate chance here. But Teet's in the conversation, but I don't know if I had to place my vote right now. If he'd be on my ballot, Mike, but I don't think he'd be my number one right now.
Glad you said that. For the record, Brett Dobson, I said the Swarm would make the playoffs because of a good defense. Well, I said because of hopefully Dobson. I didn't realize the defense was going to be like this, which we'll get to later. But this is the way they would do it. In terms of Dobson for goalie of the year, I did not predict that. Spencer Conley actually did, apparently, of Nighthawks Network. Shout out to him because he actually called that. I just said I hope they make the playoffs with the guy. By the way, Captain does say Ottawa needs to control the big runs because their offense, because like it's weird. It starts strong, dead, then finishes strong. Thank God. But if it did, it would be going to be bad. My answer to the question, though, I was kind of selfish here. Tomorrow, I'm getting my MVP ballot, my top 5. He's not number 1, but he's on the top. He might be 5. There's so many good players. And like I said, like 2 or 3 goalies might be up there as well. So that kind of hurts him right now. But we have to start the ballot tomorrow. So I was kind of selfish. I'm sorry.
No, that's what they call a tease in the biz, Mike. Nicely done, man.
No.
I agree with Captain, though. I agree with Captain. These runs are getting absolutely ridiculous and have bit Ottawa a couple of times. But luckily for them, they also have the capability to go on those runs. But that's in every single game so far. All 4 games, Ottawa has been down an 0-6 run.
Love it. It keeps happening.
It's nuts. And it was an 0-7 run this time.
Oh, wow. That's crazy.
Yeah. So, I mean, they were able to stop the bleeding this time. They went on a 5-goal run. Philly scores again, and then they score another 3. They close out. But against the top teams in the league, you're not going to be able to go on those runs. You're going to have to figure out a way to not allow teams to go on those big runs. So they get the job done. Teat was outstanding. Hellier was great. O'Connor had a really good game as well. But I think there is some cause for concern with how much the runs hurt them, but as Captain also says too, how run dependent they are as well.
Yeah. I mean, I'm sure Dan McCrane, whoever the coach is going to be there, like him or the guy before, or the guy after. So they're gonna keep trying to figure this out. I do think Hellier has been. I know we call O'Connor the Teat Whisperer. Hellier has been an immediate impact for Teat. I mean, it's that they had a goal late where it was like he just passed it to Teat who's around the doorstep, just perfect.
I've been asking for, I know you have as well, to get, a Robin to Batman or a sidekick for him. They did get him, but I think the big reason is that floor balance. Having a guy that's a right-handed shot has really stretched the floor. You can't just focus on Teat. You can't just focus on the lefties now. It opens things up. So the fact that Teat now has that guy he can ride shotgun with, especially on the other side, a ball-carrying, dominant ball carrier like Hellier, it's been a great recipe for success. And I think that maybe Hellier playing so well has kind of taken a little bit of my reasoning why, the weight, no doubt, but for me, why I'm like, okay, maybe not the MVP because
kind of
look
like
at the numbers
Josh
here.
Syndrome.
But hey, I mean, both of them have won MVP, so it would not be fair for us to knock Teat for having Hellier when we've been given MVPs to those two guys over the years.
Especially if that's how the media sets the precedence. Anyways, that's why I didn't like that in the first place. Anyways, moving on, Las Vegas walks into Toronto in that storm, by the way. Chase Fraser, hat trick. Mitch Jones, 2 goals, 4 primary assists, including some late ones to stomp the doors off. CJ Kirst, I talked about Brandon O'Neill. How about the rookie doing it? See, the next big phenom, 4 goals again, 10 loose balls by that kid. Again, just doing the dirty stuff. Landon Kells did make 40 saves. Also, it was up and down for him, but he still did a good job. Las Vegas improved to 2-1. Toronto drops to an early 1-2. My very broad and vague question is, ready to believe in the Dogs, and belief is whatever you want it to be, Pat.
I believe that this team is better than what we maybe thought after game one.
Like it.
I still don't know if we're talking about this team being a championship contender. I don't think they're at that point yet. I don't think we can believe. But if we want to believe that they're a playoff team, I think it's time to maybe start thinking that. But again, it's just 2 games. We're talking about 2 games. This is by far their most impressive victory. By far, putting up 17 against the Rock is nothing to blink at. But for me, Mike, I think I learned a little more about Toronto in this game than I did the Desert Dogs. To be quite honest.
Before you go, Hollow Chuck did start for some odd reason 35 minutes before. Rose came in anyways, but go ahead and talk because I'm interested where you go with this take.
Well, for me, coming into this season, I was really high on Toronto. I thought they would bounce back after last year, being more healthy. But I think there's a few things. Obviously, something's up in between the pipes. I don't know if Nick Rose is injured. I don't know what the issue is, but for them to go to Troy Holochuk in this game, and if you listen to Ashley Docking talk during her report, it sounded like this was scheduled. So whether we want to believe Brandon Miller, the goalie coach, and the Toronto Rock or not, it sounded like this was always the plan. So I don't know if that's just a little bit of hardball there, or if Nick Rose is actually, dealing with an injury or whatever it may be. But I think there's some concern in between the pipes. I think there's some concern defensively as well, because this is a team that I thought had the capabilities to be a top defense. They're not playing like that right now. I think they are very reliant on some of their top defensive key guys, and the depth is kind of falling behind right now. But for me, also, it's the offense is leaving a lot to be had. Curse looks great. Curse looked great with 5 points, but just 3 points for Matthews. Dalek again, 1-1. Bushi, no goals, 2 assists. Challen Rogers, only an assist. Dan Craig, an assist. Like, we're talking, like, Latrell Harris had 4. Sam English, I know he's playing both sides of the ball. He finishes with 3 assists. Jubenville had 2 goals. Like, Hiltz had a goal. Like, this is a team that obviously needs transition to help out with the offense, but they can't be carrying the weight here. This offense needs more. They need more of an offensive punch, and to be changing Rose. That's why I mean, like, I don't know. I really don't know.
That makes sense.
I know. Yeah. I know Rose hasn't been playing his best this year, but like, I just don't understand going to him at this.
Why bring him back and then week 3, like, or week 5? It makes no sense.
Yeah, and I'm trying to pull up the injury report to see, because I heard there was some rumblings of
Christopher Vale said a calf injury possibly, but I don't know who else said that.
Well, I mean, he's not on. Let me see here. Injury report from the injury report on December 26th, and take that with a grain of salt. The only players that were on the injury report were Zach Kearney and TD Erlin, who both were listed as out. So unless it's a situation where it happened, in warm up, Toronto could be facing some implications there for not having that transparency. But then again, I don't know. Like, I don't know. That could. So
the reason and I'm not, like, because I know you're not calling for, but we're throwing things in a wall here. My point is, and Teddy Jenner, shout out to him. He helps out the replies a little bit there. I asked him, like, because I forgot who is the people doing the betting thing now, like trying to, like, keep an eye on it. Octagon, maybe not Octagon. Who was the other people? They're helping with betting. Sports data, sport data.
Yep.
So shout out to me. So they I know Teddy says it, and I know you can confirm this, that 30 minutes before the game is when the deadline for lineups is. My thing is, this came out of nowhere. 35 minutes before game time, people have already made their bets. I know Captain says be a smart bettor, but you, as a guy who works for a cool bet on the side as well, or whatever it is, do you think all sports data takes into consideration, or you don't know? I'm asking you as a cool bet guy at this point too.
No, transparency is important. It's unbelievably important especially when it comes to betting. And that's why injury reports in other sports became a thing, because of all the money that is being wagered and with fantasy sports and everything. So the NLL, I thought recently, implementing this over the last couple of years has been great. But like, if you're not going to properly use it, then I think there could be an issue. And I do know from the league standpoint, I don't know offhand if there has been any recent discipline for teams that don't properly report injuries, but I do know that they had been warned that you do have to properly
so they're being proactive, which is good. And
yeah, here's why I say I caution saying if there actually is a calf injury, or if it was, because if it's before pregame, then I understand, like, you can't. Same thing happened to Chase Fraser, right? But if he was hurt, even if you're sick, like even if there's an illness, they still require him to be on that report, even as probable. But if there's a chance that he might not play, that has to be there. If it was a straight up decision when it comes to strategy, then no, teams don't have to report that at all. Like, that is just a decision that they made. Correct. Heck, we've seen this, maybe not in like the NFL with starting quarterbacks, just because we have so many insiders and so much information out there. But there have been times where you watch a college football game and you don't know who the starting quarterback is until,
like Bama, right?
Right. So there are things like that where you don't know. So when it comes to strategy, I don't think we can really hold their feet to the fire. But when it comes to transparency with injuries that can actually, really alter people and the way that they decide to put their money on, 1000%, I think something has to be done. But I don't think Toronto is willing to risk any sort of damages when it comes to disciplinary action, just so they could get a better advantage of the team not knowing which goalie's going to start or not. And obviously it didn't work out really well. They got a 17 spot hung on them.
Yeah, well, Nick Rose comes in, he looked not great anyways. And Captain says goalie gray area versus dressing. I mean, it's playing technically. Knowing who the starter matters. Captain also on Twitter this week was like, player props are, maybe we don't have a lot of those unless it's on Cool Bet sometimes. And I don't really know if you can do Nick Rose saves. You probably can't. My thing is, though, a goalie is like the starting quarterback. It's like you can't.
Oh, it's super important. I'm not denying.
And I don't know what the discipline should be. I don't think it would be anything crazy. It might be a fine or whatever the crap it would be. But it's like, this doesn't happen a lot, but it's such a one-off. It just caught my eyes. Whoa, that was weird.
But again, was any media out at morning shoot around talking to coaches? Was like, maybe that's where the difference between the NHL, when we find out who are starting goalies, it's not usually the team who announces it unless a media person asks a head coach. At a scrum, at morning skate, or if it's literally a reporter watching, first goalie gets off the ice and they're like, okay, so we know which goalie is starting. Or in the NFL, sometimes we'll see at, the midweek press conference, a head coach announce, okay, so-and-so is now starting this game. Or they ask, who can we expect to start this game? And if they haven't made their decision, usually at some point, and it's usually the media who is announcing it. So I think maybe what needs to happen is we need more media out to these morning shoot-arounds. We need more people reporting what they're seeing at shoot-around, because I would gather that unless there truly was a last-minute injury, a sickness, whatever it may be, you would be able to tell. No comment. Right. You would be able to tell just with the way that each goalie was taking their shots and doing their warm-ups. You would have been able to tell that Troy Holochuk was going to get the start.
And that's where I forgot which guy it was, but on my Twitter, that's how we found out originally. Was this fan in the bar was like, hey, by the way, I'm like, thank you, by the way, for telling us. I wish I forgot who it was. 25. Come on, Kai. All right, let's move on to the next game.
Put it this way. Put it this way, Mike. I think based upon what happened even in the game, it was pretty last minute, because if that's a show that I'm doing, and let's say it's Teddy and I on the broadcast, and we find out Troy Holochuk is starting over Nick Rose, that's the first thing we're talking about.
Correct.
And they didn't start talking about it until Ashley's live hit. And I think that was like, okay, they found out like, oh, because, oh, wow.
As everyone else did. Yeah.
Troy's starting. Okay, Ashley, your opening hit's not about this anymore. We got to send it to you because the open, as you know, it's recorded a little bit earlier, maybe 30 minutes, 20 minutes before the game. Some broadcasts sometimes do it live, whatever. But I bet you it was so last minute that they actually had to change the way that their stories were going to go and unfold, because it was right out of the open. Send it down to Ashley, and Ashley started talking about Troy Holochuk.
So, by the way, shout out to Ashley. All right, next, good job for her. Improvise. That's a good reporter. All right, Georgia did beat Colorado 12-3. Hat trick for my guy Caleb Benedict, one of the players I actually met one time. Small dude, but man, he is a weapon out there. Also added 5 loose balls. Lyle Thompson, 1 goal, 1 primary assist despite 3 total assists, 1 loose ball. And then, of course, Brett Dobson has had an amazing start, which we talked about. We'll get to as well. Georgia improves to 2-2. Colorado drops to 1-2. I am going to ask the question I sent you. I'm going to also ask you another one here. But does Lyle Thompson even need to be the number one option if this is what they look like, or do their offense even look good to you?
No, this has been on the backs of that defense and Brett Dobson. Their offense has done just enough, in my opinion. I mean, when you give up 3 and 5 in their 2 victories, of course, you really don't need a ton of offense, but that's obviously not sustainable because you hold Saskatchewan to 7, you probably deserve to win that game, to be quite honest, and they still lost. So I will say it depends on what your expectations are, what you think that this team should do. If this is a playoff team, or this is a team that's maybe going to win a playoff game, no, they need more from Lyle Thompson, 1,000%. And I know there was a ton of games on, so halftime watching probably wasn't really on anyone's radar, but we did a halftime segment of ours, New Year's resolutions across the NLL. And my New Year's resolution was, normally people say new year, new me. I say for Lyle and for Georgia, new year, old Lyle, because I do think that if this team is going to want to do some damage this season, he's got to get back to where he was. And I don't believe that this slump is going to last very long. It's the worst 3-game stretch since his rookie season. It's the lowest 18-point pace of his entire career. I think he's going to pick it up. I heard that he's trying out some new mesh, which maybe is affecting his shot. So I don't know if he goes back to the old mesh. I don't know if he was using the old mesh last week, but I heard he's trying some different things in his stick. 2 goals through 4 games. That's not going to happen for Lyle. It's only going to be a matter of time till he breaks out. But I will tell you this, Mike, like I said it last week, this Georgia defense is legit. I don't know how I don't know how they can like, I don't think it's,
is it sustainable? Like, that's what I'm saying.
I don't know if it is, but man, this 3-game stretch that they've had, and I know they're 2-1, but they look so good, and Dobson looks unbelievable right now, man.
It might help them get to the playoffs if they're going to play like this. Like, not like that, but if they're going to start off strong, stealing, like I say stealing, but like getting these games like this is going to help. My reaction to that question is, or answer to it, if he's doing the little things, Georgia could be fine. Pat, he had 1 loose ball. And I'm like, I know Kai said he heard on the broadcast, maybe he had an injury. I don't know if that was during the game or he got dinged up. The broadcast, whatever. My point is, I don't know if he's injured because Lyle always gets loose balls. And I don't know. 1 loose ball is not Lyle Thompson at all. Like, I've never seen that in any box score in my 4 years of doing this show. So that's concerning. Someone's, I know on OTCB After Dark, they said hashtag bring back the braid. I don't know what it is. I just hope he finds his way back, because I do think if they're going to sneak in or even make a run, it would be Lyle would have to be a star at that point.
100%.
I don't know if you saw his play. So Dobson did get hit. The referee did rule that he was out the crease, like he stepped out or something like that. I don't know if you saw that play, but that was a controversy. The referee explained it, to be fair. But yeah, it was I get referee, whatever. Georgia still won 12-3, didn't really matter. Buffalo, Calgary, mostly Buffalo. It was close late in the third quarter, which was nice. 13-7 on ESPN2. Hello, United States people. Matt Vince had 41 saves on 48 shots on goal. Also had a cost turnover like Brad Dobson did this week. Dave Smith hat trick, 4 primary assists. Buffalo 2-1. Calgary drops to 0-3. A frisky 0-3. But I ask you to rate this win on the impressive scale for the Bandits, 1 to 10. 3.
5.
Oh, that's higher than I thought you would go, actually.
Yeah, it's impressive. It's on the road. It's on a Sunday. The offense flexed its muscles late. Thought the defense looked good. Mm-hmm. But I think that's kind of what we expected, to be quite honest. So, maybe 5's a bit high, but I don't want to. I want to still give credit where credit's due. I think they did their job. They went in, they started out hot. They, what was it, 4-1 in that first quarter. I think they're outscored 3-1 in the second. But then
2 of them.
Yep. Weiss looked great in transition. They had some good opportunities in transition, but the offense kind of took over. Matt Vince, 40 saves, 41 actually, I think it ended up being, but it was impressive. But that's kind of what we expected Buffalo to do. And Calgary, I said I think that they've looked a lot better than what they've had to start the year. That kind of looked like the Calgary, I think, what we thought a little more. The defense did not look good. They got exposed a ton, especially in that fourth quarter. They're packing in almost like playing a zone at some points, and then Buffalo was shooting the lights out. Okay, and then they start to extend out and press out. Okay, well then that's when that's when Buffalo starts to find backs in the pick and roll game. So definitely one that they're not going to be too impressed with. And if you have a chance, go to Calgary's social media channels and watch what head coach Sanderson had to say after the game. He was not pleased at all. Doesn't mince his words at all there. I think he was pretty frustrated with the effort his team gave.
Which is actually a good thing, because he feels like they could have played better and they were close in the third quarter. Maybe Calgary isn't down yet. And the funny thing is, it's only a 14-team league. And when we do get to 30 teams one day, 50 years from now, we're going to look back and say, wow, this is a competitive league. And Calgary is a competitive little 0-3 team. But someone's got to be last place, like I said before the season started. But if he thinks there's more to give, good for him and the team there. My answer to that is my impressive scale. This is going off my creating the narrative. I'm at a 7. I know they beat Calgary. I said, and it's funny you use this term as well, I said Buffalo's going to flex their muscles, because for my psyche and for just the general consensus of this team, if you walked in there and just 12-10, okay, but are you really ready to make a 4-peat? 13-7 and locking down the second half like they did against Georgia is just what I want to see. It's what the doctor ordered when we didn't even go to the doctor, but he still wrote his prescription. We needed this to happen. Good for Buffalo. I gave them Viagra just for men, old guy equivalent for youthful vigor. They once again found a way to lock it down so that they wouldn't lose a stupid game or wouldn't play with their food. Good for Buffalo. 7 out of 10 for me.
So, like I said, I went with a 5. I'm not arguing. I think a lot of people be like, well, whatever. But no, I think we got to give them a little more flowers to going in on a Sunday night and flexing your muscles, like you said. But in that fourth quarter, taking over and having your best players be your best players. So
traveling on a Sunday, and it's like 11 o'clock Buffalo time. That also matters to me. So
it actually was. I think it was 8. Wasn't it 8 o'clock? Eastern?
Oh, whatever. I don't know why I could do. Okay, that makes a lot more sense to me. My point is, it was a late Sunday game that was weird in Calgary. Come on, good for them.
Mm-hmm.
All right, finally, let's do my 3 stars. And thanks again to Pixar Pat for coming on the show. 3rd star, Dane Smith. It wasn't a lot of gigantic performances this weekend, but good for Dane. Had a good game. I wish they had a picture that was solo of him, but it was in Calgary. Oh well, I'll find it later. This was a current picture. Jeff Teat. 8 primary assists is a ridiculous number, by the way. People don't understand that. I know I poke fun at secondary assists. 8 primary is ridiculous.
Mm-hmm.
And finally, Brett Dobson, man. There's him in his red pipes. What a game. And I know like a lot of it was like Georgia defense. Oh, that was the last thing that we can let everybody go here. Colorado. Can we chalk up 3 goals to no Jack Hanna? Hello. No Andrew Q and no Liger? Or are we saying that's still 3 goals? You got to do better.
It's the National League, man. You got to score more than 3 goals. We talked a lot. We talked about Sanderson's comments after the game. Go and watch what Pat Gregoire said. He said that, and I'm paraphrasing, but basically said there's injuries all across the league.
Correct.
We can't be so fragile to allow one player leaving the lineup to lose our entire swagger. And I mean, it's been even that game against the Warriors, they still scored only 10. And then you score 7 against Philly and 3 against Georgia. I know Hannah's going to help. And then I know whenever Q is back, that's going to help as well. But they got some work to do. There's no doubt about that. The defense and goaltending has looked pretty solid, I would say, but they got to find a way. They have to find a way. They're very reliant on a couple of guys right now in Malcolm and Lee. So hopefully getting some new guys into the fold will help them. Like Braden Saris is a healthy scratch. And that's your 5th overall pick, a guy that you had a lot of high expectations, but just 2 assists through his first 2 games. I imagine he'll be back in the lineup, but obviously Pat Gregoire just, really showing like, listen guys, you have to be better. We have to be better. They know they got to be better. Hannah's going to help. Q getting back in the lineup is going to help. But I got to see more from this offensive group. They need more of an offensive punch. Correct. And I know a lot of Colorado fans are happy about Jack Hanna, as they should be. I guess you're right. It's the National Lacrosse League, and I know Georgia's even been playing well, but it's like you said, it's not acceptable. We will talk more Jack Hanna tomorrow, at least on this show. Thank you, Pat Gregoire. It's a fun year, man. I don't know who's the favorite. I know I poked fun on Twitter how far the mighty Colorado has fallen since game 1. But that's why this is a week-to-week league. That's why I also kind of push back against 3 or 4 games a week. I like the week-to-week. Yeah, it is. It's a week-to-week league. That's the greatest way you can put it. I love it. It's it's so funny because I do think probably the 2 biggest overreactions to the preseason was everyone's like, oh wow, Colorado is way better than what we thought. And Owen Hiltz give him the rookie of the year right now. Owen Hiltz isn't playing bad, but I think there's some other rookies that are playing much better than him, notably the 1 rookie or 2 other rookies that are on his team. And the other thing is Colorado's sure they look great in preseason. What are they doing right now? So we have to remember preseason is preseason for a reason. I'm not saying that Colorado can't turn things around with Hanna now in the lineup and getting Q back eventually. Maybe they go on a run here. We know the defense is good enough, but 20 goals through 3 games is not ideal, to say the least. So don't overreact, even though this is our segment. It's about overreacting, but don't overreact. It's week to week. You might think you got this thing figured out one week, and the following week you're shaking your head saying, what do I even know anything? That's what makes this league so much fun, though. You're taking money from the Polar Bears. You got to figure you're like 13-6. Like you're just running away with the whole thing. So you do have it figured out. We don't. We'll see. As captain, I know captain knows. He can vouch for me. It's the highs are high and the lows are low. I'm not going to get him ahead of myself. It's been a nice run, but we know a dry spell's coming at some point. Let's try to stay hot, but that's why we always say stay cool and bet responsibly. Very good send off here. Thanks everybody. That's the cool Batman, Pat Gregoire. Hey, he's a broadcaster. I'm Michael Karvelis.
I'll be here tomorrow, maybe with Joel Watson. We'll see in some fresh fits. We'll see if Pat won it again. And, of course, an MVP ballot. Thank you, Pat.
Thanks, boys.